everyone, this is Star with Ariana Stark. This is your weekly love reading for the week starting from 4th to 10th January 2021. Like always, I will cover all 12 sun signs in this reading. Cross-watchers also welcome to have a look at this reading. We also have the timestamp given in the description box, so in case you want to proceed directly to your reading, you can do just that. Like always, I will rely on tarot for your overall messages, and I'm also going to dive into this deck by Mystic Moon for a message with respect to your love life. For Aries, we have the card Queen of Cups, and I also have the card Understanding. Certainly, you are going to get perspective into your love life this week. There may be a greater understanding about where things stand with respect to a connection. Basically, Aries, in case you're crushing on someone, I think you will understand that this person is unwilling to commit to anybody. Perhaps he wants to stay single. Sometimes you may feel as though you're in a state of suspension with respect to this connection. On the other hand, single Aries, I think you are somebody who's going to blush because your family members could zero in on a prospective match, perhaps on a dating site or on a matrimonial site. I think you could or your family could make a formal proposal to this person. But then these are early days. Nonetheless, single Aries, I think your admirers will desperately try to find ways to communicate with you. Maybe they simply need a window of opportunity. But you know that in case you're disinterested, then you shouldn't string anyone along. However, for many of you, there's also the chance that there could be a work-related romance in the offing this week. Ideally, I think Aries, you're going to be someone who's quite flirtatious because we have the Queen of Cups. She's a beautiful lady and she's quite intuitive and emotional as well. I think you understand that the best way to get attention from the opposite sex is to floor them with your compliments. This is the easiest way to win over anybody, and you're going to do just that this week. Those who are romancing, I think you will continue to have love chat or you will converse with the person till late hours. Maybe you're also going to discuss your respective families or your work. Perhaps you will discuss your childhood as well. On the other hand, those of you who are married, I think you have to be prepared to be the caregiver this week. Maybe your in-laws or somebody around you is unwell. Married Aries, I think you should also be mindful of the fact that your words could unnerve your person. Even you could be a bit unsettled on account of harsh words which are exchanged. Maybe there's also a lady around you who could stir up trouble in your life. Those of you who are in an unhappy connection, I think you find yourself being blamed unnecessarily. Maybe your spouse is also going to question your conduct with the opposite sex. Maybe you should limit your interactions, or he wants you to limit your interactions with the opposite sex. Perhaps your partner also thinks that you're not being honest. Ideally, I think you should understand where you stand in this connection or in this relationship. And then you can proceed in that way. From Aries, I'll move to Taurus. For Taurus, I have the card 10 of Pentacles. And I also have the card Metamorphosis. Single Taurus, I think you're going to be wooed by the opposite sex. You can expect attention. Certainly you will welcome it because it's very flattering. I think one such admirer may want to break the ice. Perhaps he is tongue-tied. He doesn't know how to proceed because he is too enamored by your beauty or your looks. Maybe he wants to express himself, but he will stop short. Ideally, I think he needs to get out of the cocoon stage if he wants to evolve into a beautiful butterfly. For many of you, work-related romance is also a possibility this week. Maybe you should go with the flow rather than limit yourself. Perhaps there are limitations imposed upon you on account of your family connections. That is why you're going to distance yourself from this relationship. I think the person in question whom you are talking to or whom you are conversing on account of work could be very taken up by you. Those of you who are romancing, you will also discuss work. Maybe you're also going to plan about the future together. On the other hand, married Taurans, I think you could be emotional as your mother-in-law, or maybe a female figure around you could taunt at you or could say something unkind. You understand that she resents you. Many a times you could be reminiscing on the times gone by. In case you're in an unhappy connection, I think you may feel as though you're stuck in a loveless marriage. This could make you a bit emotional as well. Perhaps you could end up bearing your soul to a younger person, maybe your child, or even to a guest who is willing to pay heed to what you're trying to convey. I think you want this person to understand your predicament. For many Taurans, in case you're in an unhappy connection or in case you're also in a third-party situation, I think you see a future with the extramarital lover rather than with your person or rather than with your marital partner. Let's move to Gemini. For Gemini, I have the card Knight of Pentacles, and I also have the card Free Will. As we all know, Knight of Pentacles is a very slow-moving energy. I think in case you're in an unacknowledged relationship or in case you want your person to acknowledge his feelings for you, this isn't the right time. Perhaps he suffers from commitment phobia as well. This is why free will has come up. Perhaps you should understand that it's his choice to make. You cannot force anybody to love you. Maybe you will realize that there are too many obstacles on the path. Perhaps it's not meant to be. That's what you're trying to understand from this situation that you find yourself in. Maybe this person whom you're dealing with has responsibilities towards his family, or there's a female figure, perhaps his mother as well. That is why he wants to distance himself from a connection. This could definitely leave you very disappointed and crestfallen. Nonetheless, I think those of you who are romancing Geminis, I think you will discuss your past lives. Possibly your person could also open up about his childhood and talk about his deepest secrets. Maybe you will also be exchanging photos in this week. On the other hand, those of you who are married, I think unfaithfulness could be an issue here. Maybe your person is suspicious nature. That is why he doesn't want you to cross paths or interact with a member of the opposite sex, possibly an employee as well. Those of you who are in an extramarital relationship, I think you have to deal with the distance. Maybe your person is away on account of work. In case you're in a hush-hush connection, I think you should also be careful because there's a possibility that someone could get a whiff of your secret romance. From Gemini, I will move to Cancer. For Cancer, I have the card Nine of Cups. And I also have the card Muse. In case you're crushing on someone, I think you're going to be preoccupied with thoughts of your person. Basically, you could be also gripped by nostalgia. Maybe you think there's hardly any communication to write home about. Maybe you're also planning to write a note to this person. However, you could realize that you shouldn't do so immediately. Perhaps you'll put it off for a future date. By the way, many of you who are romancing could also come across your lover being inspired by you. Maybe he sees you as a muse. Interestingly, romancing Cancerians, your family members may be opposed to your relationship. Perhaps they want you to put an end to it. That is why you're going to be very careful or cautious with respect to your romance. Maybe you will carry on the romance undercover. I think your family members may want you to put an end to the romance, but then you're not going to give in. Maybe you want to do what your heart desires. Those of you who are married, I think you'll be fretting over your spouse's financial decisions. Perhaps you feel that your spouse should not quote such a high price with respect to his services because you could end up losing a big opportunity. I think both of you are going to also work together or inspire each other. Like I said, creatively you could be inspiring each other, or you could be bouncing ideas off each other. Those of you who are in an unhappy relationship, I think the question of infidelity could come up. Maybe your partner or your person suspects that you have feelings for somebody else. Getting windy out here, so possibly there could be some turbulence here that you're dealing with respect to your romantic connection. Let's move to Leo. For Leo, I have the card Emperor, and I also have the card Solitude. Surely your angels are calling upon you to be in a reflective mood this week. Perhaps you need to distance yourself from the relationship or the connection. Nonetheless, Leos, you will definitely find yourself being pursued by members of the opposite sex. Even people who are younger than you could be charmed by your looks or your demeanor. Maybe they want to oblige you as they want you to take note of them. Surely it's very flattering, but that's about it. I think you are going to retreat from this kind of a flirtatious exchange. Somebody could also be very madly in love with you. Maybe this person who admires you feels that you are not going to reciprocate, or you don't reciprocate. Perhaps he thinks that you are very egoistical. Maybe he thinks that you have a social standing and that you are highly opinionated as well. Surely this person has also moved you, or he has had an effect on you in your heart space, but you're not going to acknowledge it. That is why you think it's best to stay quiet and to be in the bliss of solitude. In case you're crushing on someone, I think you will continue to cyberstalk your crush. Maybe you want to send a message across to this person, but then you could retreat from this connection, or you could step back as your confidant or your sibling whom you're close to may ask you not to be so persuasive. Those of you who are romancing, I think you will be dealing with an insecure lover this week. Maybe he thinks that he's not going to match up to your looks. But you're going to reassure him that looks will fade away. Besides, the love that you have for this person is very deep. On the other hand, those of you who are married, I think you should not put up with domestic violence or abuse of any kind. I think your person is somebody who's going to put limitations on you. Besides, he wants everybody under his thumb. That is why, Leos, you're being called to reflect on this connection and understand where you stand. Respect is most important in any connection. He cannot devalue you. From Leo, I will move to Virgo, which is the sixth sign of the zodiac. For Virgo, I have the card 9 of Wands, and I also have the card Contemplation. If you look closely, both these figures seems to be in pensive mode. Even here, this person seems challenged, and this person is also in deep thought. Certainly, Virgos, in case you're crushing on someone, I think you'll continue to cyberstalk your crush. Maybe you think that there are too many obstacles in the path, and this could make you a bit emotional or impatient as well. I think this person in question could also be somebody in your line of work or in your profession. Nonetheless, single Virgos, I think you'll be much admired this week. I think the opposite sex could be trying to woo you or trying to impress you. In fact, when they go quiet or they go into a shell, then you may wonder what's been going on. Romancing Virgos, work could be a priority, or maybe you're going to exchange ideas. Surely you're going to be free with compliments, and this will keep the romance alive. Sometimes the two of you may also be discussing your past life. In case you're in an unacknowledged relationship, or in case you're discussing emotional matters over your matters of the heart, then I think your person could also be somebody who fears commitment. So some kind of challenges there in your relationship which needs to be worked upon. For some of you, I'm also picking up that maybe you could be left heartbroken. Like I said, perhaps this person is not ready to commit. Even married Virgos, I think you should step back and reevaluate your goals with respect to work. Or if you want the relationship to work, or if you want the marriage to work, then you should have a more compromising attitude this week. Let's move to Libra. For Libra, I have the card 2 of Wands, and I also have the card Pride and Ego. Librans, you will definitely find yourself discussing your admirers with your confidant. Maybe you believe that your person or people around you who are smitten by you, they seem to be charmed by your conversational skills. In case you're crushing on someone, I think you could even consider calling up your person or your crush. However, you will withhold yourself as you don't want to be the person who makes the first move. I think ego is a factor here, because you think that you shouldn't always be the one who comes across as being clingy, or you don't want to be seen as someone who is very persuasive. Sometimes you may also feel it's not time yet to make that move. This constant tussle is going to be there in your head. Romancing Librans, I think you'll have discussions related to work. I think in case your love life is under wraps, I think there could be some anxious moments because you don't want other people to get a whiff of your romance. By the way, I think Librans, you should be more romantically disposed. Maybe you're coming across as a person who is making those unkind remarks. Perhaps you should not snub the person, as it could dent his ego or it could hurt his ego. Ideally, I think you should be mindful of his emotions or his feelings as well. Maybe you could talk something about his past life or his childhood, which he wants to brush aside. So this childhood wounds could also come up in this week, and this could affect him. That is why he could retreat into a shell. Married Librans, I think you should be mindful of the fact that there could be quarrels with your in-laws. Maybe they provoke you to react. I think compromise is the key here for Librans if you want a happy relationship or connection. Let's move from Libra to Scorpio. For Scorpio, I have the card King of Wands, and I also have the card Victim. In case you're crushing on someone, I think you will continue to cyberstalk this person. Maybe you want to understand his thoughts or his desires and feelings. I think you also feel as though you're attuned to each other or telepathically connected with this person. Maybe you feel his presence in the 5D world. Some of you could also be very restless because you get news that soon your person whom you're crushing on could be in your city or he could be around you in the vicinity. This could make you a bit restless. Maybe you're getting to know of his travel plans. In case you're in love with someone, I think you could be somebody who could make the move and reconnect with the person. Maybe you could be asked to do so by your confidant who sees that it's time to reconnect with that special someone. I think this person will also acknowledge his deep feelings for you, or he will confirm that he is in love with you. Basically, the two of you have a lot of catching up to do. I think you'll discuss your respective families as well. By the way, I think you should also be careful because scheduled date could get cancelled. So maybe you have to settle for phone calls. There'll be witty exchange with this person. Maybe you'll be discussing work as well. I think you want to come across as someone who's quite witty and intelligent. Single Scorpions can also expect admirers. Maybe they feel a bit low as you don't reciprocate. I think there's going to be somebody who's going to reiterate his feelings, but you're not going to respond. I think he's going to play the victim card here, so you should understand that you should not play with his emotions as well. In case you are married, I think you'll be very romantically disposed towards your person. Your person could also be quite delighted with your success at work. But you realize that your in-laws are not too pleased with your success. Many of you may also be concerned about the financial condition of your spouse. Maybe you could discuss this with your parents, but they think that you're playing the victim card, or they don't seem to buy your story. In case you're in an unhappy connection, I think you should make allowances for each other rather than complain about silly matters. Maybe your spouse is going to find faults with you over the prepared food. You also somebody could accuse your spouse of being inattentive. So this could affect the marriage vote. Let's move to Sagittarius. Sagittarius, I have the card Six of Cups, and I also have the card Grief. Some kind of estrangement is there in your connection this week. Surely single Sagittarians, you'll be wooed by the opposite sex. I think they will definitely try hard to communicate with you. They'll try to please you. Perhaps he could go gaga over your eyes. Secretly, you will welcome the attention, but your suitor also feels that you're in an advantageous position as you know what he feels while you don't give anything away. In case you're crushing on someone, I think Sagittarians, you may want to renew contact with the person, and maybe you want to reach out to this person. That is why you're in a pensive mood or you're in a nostalgic mood. Incidentally, for many Sagittarians, the possibility of a work-related romance is also there in the offing in this week. I think you'll be very flirtatious, but then you're going to put limitations on yourself. That is why I think you could be in a reflective mode. That is why you could also feel a sense of loss. Ideally, I think Sagittarians, you should go with the flow rather than put an end to the beautiful conversation or the relationship that is in the offing. The fact is that the two of you have feelings for each other, even if it's unacknowledged. Ideally, I think Sagittarians, you should go with the flow rather than put an end to this beautiful conversation or beautiful relationship that is there, which is going to blossom. Maybe you are putting limitations on yourself because of family issues. Maybe you should not have those regrets. Other than that, those of you who are already romancing, I think you have to deal with the obstacles in your love life. Perhaps your loved ones aren't happy with your growing fondness for this person. They despise this person and they want you to put an end to it. But then you're not going to listen to them. This is why this lady or this could be you who wants to turn a deaf ear to what they are trying to convey. Married Sagittarians, I think you should maintain your cool this week. I think you're also somebody who could be in a suspicious frame of mind. Infidelity could also be a factor here, but it could be unfounded. So before jumping to conclusions, I think you should take a step back and reevaluate what you're trying to convey. Many of you could also be concerned about your child this week, in case you're a parent. From Sagittarius, I'll move to Capricorn. For Capricorn, I have the card Two of Swords, and I also have the card Recognition. I think you and your person are going to recognize your connection or your feelings for each other this week. In case you're crushing on someone, I think you may want to reach out to the person, but you also feel that you shouldn't be too persuasive. That is why this Two of Swords. This is a constant battle that is going on in your head. Nonetheless, I think those of you who are single, you will find your secret admirers are going to be very explicit. Maybe they want to go on a date with you and they could make their feelings plain, but then you're going to disappoint them. Ideally, I think you should understand that there's something going on here, or this person has certainly touched your soul. Those of you who are romancing Capricorns, I think you feel that your lover and you are aligned. Maybe you have the same thoughts or you have the same views with respect to discussions that you're having. It will be better if you give your person time. Maybe you should have good conversations as the evening sets in, because this is a time when this person could be very emotional and he could open up. And this could bring the two of you closer. On the other hand, married Capricorns, I think you should ignore little issues. Maybe there could be petty quarrels or petty fights. Maybe you will accuse your person of being inattentive. Those of you who are in an unhappy connection, I think you should not put up with abuse of any kind. Let's move to Aquarius. For Aquarius, I have the card King of Cups and also have the card Nostalgia. Surely, single Aquarius, I think you are going to be pursued by this person. I think an admirer could want to express his feelings for you, but then it's up to you whether you accept this cup of love. For many of you, you will also be gripped by nostalgia this week. Maybe you're going to have those dreams about your ex, or an ex-flame could also reach out to you. So this could bring back those memories. In case you're crushing on someone, I think you'll be a bit restless. Maybe you will withhold yourself. You don't want to reach out to the person all the time. Basically, you're thinking why you should take the initiative always. Nonetheless, those of you who are romancing Aquarians, I think you will be discussing your past lives. Maybe your person is also going to be helping you out. Sometimes you feel that your family members aren't too forthcoming when it comes to helping you, or when it comes to plans and ideas that you have about your future, while your lover is somebody who is there by your side. I think the health of somebody around you could also affect your relationship this week. On the other hand, married Aquarians, I think you're dealing with a person who is quite temperamental. Maybe your person is also somebody who's quite suspicious, and he could link you to members of the opposite sex. So this could make you a bit emotional as well. Let's move to the last sign of the zodiac, which is Pisces. We have the Three of Swords for Pisces. And I'm also getting this card, Union. This is quite ironic because these two cards talk about something which is totally disparate. We We have the Three of Swords, which talks about some kind of an estrangement or separation in a relationship, while we have the card Union, which talks about coming together of two souls, becoming one. That is, I think you desire union with a person, but then it seems like a distant dream for you. Maybe you should not hold on to somebody who's not going to be there for you. Ideally, Pisces, also in case you're in a connection, maybe there's a physical distance with you and your person. Maybe you should also weigh your words carefully, because we have the Swords energy, so certainly you could come across as a person who is very biting when it comes to making those remarks. The health of your loved one or somebody around you could also be a factor here. Basically, many Pisces, you're going to be dealing with the pangs of loss and separation. Other than that, those of you who are married, I think you should avoid using harsh words in your interactions with your spouse, as this could affect your relationship this week. I hope everyone you liked your reading. This is Char with Ariana Stark. Please give us your feedback in the comment section. We also have the monthly forecast for each sun sign, which is published before the month commences. Have a look at that as well to get greater insight into your life. This is Ariana Stark signing off. Take care. Bye. Till the next time.